Welcome to Leap Into Your Story podcast, where you discover your inner story, break down the process, and meet others who've done it so you can leap into your own story. We interview amazing guests who provide powerful insights that inspire you to get your story told. Be sure to visit our website at leapintoyourstory.com, and while you're there, subscribe and like us via your favorite social media network. Now sit back, get ready to take some notes, and let's get started. This episode of Leap Into Your Story podcast is brought to you by Leap Into Your Story course. Visit leapintoyourstory.com, where you have a guide to get your story told.
I'm Victoria Anderson, and welcome to the Leap Into Your Story podcast, where you discover your inner story, work through the process, and meet others who've done it. We interview amazing guests who provide powerful insights that inspire you to leap into your own story. Be sure to visit our website at leapintoyourstory.com, and then while you're there, subscribe and like us via your favorite social media network. In this podcast, my returning guest is Megan Mary. Megan Mary is an award-winning international best-selling metaphysical author, dream worker, host of the Women's Dream Enlightenment podcast, and founder of Inner Realms Publishing. In addition to a career spanning over 25 years creating and marketing websites, she holds an MA in English Literature, a BMSc in Metaphysical Sciences, and is currently pursuing her PhD. She is a member of the International Association for the Study of Dreams and the Author's Guide and Independent Book Publishers Association. So welcome, Megan Mary, to our podcast today. It's always a pleasure and a delight to have you.
Thanks for having me back, Victoria. I'm really excited to share the trilogy and what I've been up to since the last time we talked.
Yes, so you've been very busy since our last podcast. You know, you have written a trilogy that in a very short amount of time. Her metaphysical trilogy is called Witches of Maple Hollow, and Then it blends the genres of mystery, fantasy, and speculative fiction. Her first book is The Dream Hunters. The second book is The Dream Mirrors. And third book is The Dream Dimension.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and dive in and find out what our readers can expect about, what the books are going to cover as far as spiritual awakening and metaphysical topics.
Yes, there is so much, and thank you for that intro. So I'd love to start by first talking about The Dream Haunters, which is the very first one, set the stage. So all three books take place on an island of eternal autumn called Maple Hollow, somewhere in New England. And they all follow the story of the female main character, Hannah Skye. She is a young woman in search of meaning. She loses her job. She gets a cryptic letter from her missing and eccentric Aunt Julia, and she's been having recurring dreams about a pumpkin patch that she doesn't understand what they mean. And she ends up going to investigate the disappearance of her aunt, and while she's there, she discovers the mystical Skye Manor and her magical family legacy. And so this book is really... they're all about dreams, but this one really brings you into the world of Maple Hollow for the very beginning of her experience. And they all are fall themed as well. The Dream Hunters and the Dream Dimensions take place at Halloween. They all take place also at Mercury retrograde, which is a very specific astrological period. And in this book, the first one, she has to solve the riddle, unlock her powers, and dive into the dream dimensions to save her aunt by Halloween night when the veil between the worlds is thinnest. And so it explores spells, magic, dreams, music, sound healing, secret societies, spiritual inheritance, and there's also the tropes of found family, discovered powers, race against time, and really her self-discovery as we follow her along as she's decoding the mystery.
That is a lot to unpack.
There's more.
Well, let's find out a little bit more about you said there's like a theme of 13 divinations of Maple Hollow.
Hmm.
Let's talk about those.
So there are a ton of different metaphysical elements that are present in the books. If you like shopping at a metaphysical store, pretty much everything gets touched on at one point. But there are a lot of different forms of divination in the story that I wasn't even aware existed before I started doing the research for this. I was familiar with tarot and oracle cards and tea leaves and things like that, but this really, as I was studying my metaphysical studies, they were informing the information in the book. And so we see things like automatic painting in book three. There is a cat cafe, which doubles as a piano lounge, and there is an art exhibit where they do automatic painting. Bibliomancy is a form of basically where you glean information from books, you divine through a book. Some people do this when they open a large book and they just flip to a page and look for a message. And this is something that they discover a power that they have that's a little bit even more elaborate than that in the books. There's always thunderstorms happening, spooky manner, and the thunderstorms are actually divining by thunderstorms. Brontomancy is something where, they're listening to the thunder rolling and watching the lightning strikes. And there's a lot of different atmospheric phenomenons that take place in the book. There's the aurora borealis, there's ball lightning, there's all these different celestial occurrences, lunar eclipses, all these types of things. Um, let's see. Mirror gazing is another divination that is very prominent in book two, The Dream Mirrors. This is really centered around a dinner that they host at the Sky Manor on 999, and everyone gets a mirror to look at the end of the dinner, and it really reveals a lot about themselves. And the book is really uh, a comment on identity, vanity, illusion, and really shedding of the ego, which happens as part of the spiritual awakening, and also delves into, of course, my dream mirror method of understanding dreams. So there's a lot of there's a lot of different ways that dreams are represented, whether they're dream interpretation or manifesting dreams or lucid dream experiences, visitation dreams, all these different things occur. Before I keep going down, because 13 is a long number, I'm going to give you a moment to comment on those.
Wow. I've thought I've heard quite a bit of information before, but you definitely enlightened me on some of the new. I never heard about like the lightning divination and things like that. Have you experienced any of those, or were these just researching? Or I should say, how many have you had experienced?
Yeah, I've always been fascinated by thunderstorms and the power of nature. There's something about it that is I feel like it's this special moment that we just have to stop what we're doing and admire it. When I was little, lightning actually struck my bedroom where I was and split the siding down the house. And I was terrified. I mean, but I think it was kind of like my Harry Potter moment where it's like I got really close to it. And then I was always just like so intrigued by it. Um, Hypnomancy is actually the divination by dreams. And so that is something that I definitely do as part of my dream work. And a lot of the different divinations, like the scrying and the numerology, and I've definitely experienced firsthand.
Yeah. I'm, I'm just fascinated because I'm learning. I love to learn new things.
Yeah.
I think I kind of myself personally have had a little taste of all of those. Some bigger than others.
Yeah, and I would think in the work that you do,
Mhm.
particularly psychometry, divination from objects,
Yeah,
dealing with antiques, that you would have an opportunity for that every day because objects carry energy, and you can very often, by just holding an object, receive information about the previous owners.
right. And I've had a strange encounter with an object. It was a compact at an estate sale, and
Mm.
it was the compact was really rough, and I didn't want to buy it because it was just so worn. But this elderly lady who was behind the counter just had a really warm smile and kept pointing like, buy it, buy it. And so there was another younger gal just to um, the right of her. And I said, well, your staff is pretty convincing because that lady next to you is really, got me to buy. I'm going to buy the compact. And she's like, what lady? There wasn't, it was so, and when I saw some of the
Ah,
pictures in the other room, that was the lady who had passed away's estate. That was her. Yeah.
oh, there's the chills.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's an awesome story.
yeah. So she was so happy I bought her compact, her vintage.
Mm.
It was a nice, Art Deco era compact. She apparently loved it and cherished it and wanted to make sure it went to somebody who was going to do the same.
Amazing.
Yeah. So yes, I can definitely identify with
I
that.
bet you can. Yes.
And of course, synchronicities in any of the books, any of my books, yeah, all of them, um, not only talk about the power of synchronicities, but also the guided ones through dream time, because that's our big connection between the two of us is that we are just chock full of dream divination and guidance. That's one of the reasons why I just love to have you on because dreams are very, very, powerful for me, and they've guided me all this way. And I write about that in touch, the trial by fire, the mastering the paradox, even the wars in heaven, and my new upcoming book, which is going to be Phoenix Rising. You're going to see more of the power of dream divination and the guidance and warning too.
Mm,
So because a lot of
yes.
times, and I think more so than ever, with so much busyness during the day, it's the nighttime where we're kind of like, hey, you need to pay attention. Let me make sure you understand this and the power of the dream when your busyness calms down, and now the information has the ability to come in and get your attention very strongly one way or another.
True. Very true. Yes. And I received so many dream messages and profound experiences before and during that I was writing this book that some of the dreams got into the book. I mean, I know it's fiction, but reality is stranger than fiction many times. And so some of
Yes,
them are mine.
yes, absolutely. And I was just curious, do you have, I know it's fiction, and a lot of times fiction is based on true life. Is there I know you mentioned the dreams are in there. Is there any other parts that are, connected to you for your true, true life experiences that you enjoy?
Yeah, there's a lot. She she experiences the aurora borealis in book three. I got to see it for the first time in real life last year, and it was unbelievable, just amazing. Sky dancing, yeah. And so there are so many things. A lot of people ask me, like, which character are you? Are you Hannah? It's like, well, I'm Hannah and I'm Morgan and I'm Julia. I'm all, you know, I'm all of them. And my cats are in the books too. So there's 8 cats in the books.
Oh my.
5 of them are ones that I have known and had the privilege to know in real life. 3 of them are fictional. And so my cats get to be stars too in the story. So of course, there's so much of me in the stories, and so if people that read it that know me are just like, oh yeah, that's that's you.
Yeah, that's another connection is the cats are in my stories because
Mm,
they've had, you know, I don't know, again, not all of them are about dream time, but this powerful connection to if you're not paying attention in certain ways, well, other, whether people, two-legged, four-legged, are going to come in and, guide you one way or another sometimes.
yes. So, I mean, I had a powerful dream where this owl appeared to me and he said, "We've been watching you for 7 years, and we better tell everybody what is about to happen. And I think you better get more journals."
Mm.
And I was like, okay, what is that about? So I put that in book two.
Wow.
Um, and so there's a lot of owls in book two. But there's also other talking animals. There's a talking turtle in book one. And they're all in the dream space.
Hmm.
But they're all, animal spirit guides.
Now, not to go too off subject, but I was just with you talking about that. And I noticed as I get older, my dreams, and instead of me kind of experiencing like the dream realm, I am more present in that to the point where I'm like watching stuff more interaction going, somebody doesn't like something in the dream, I'm standing my ground. So, you know, um, and I know as a younger version of myself, I'd be a little intimidated in those situations, but now I really kind of, don't mess with me, not even in the dream time now. So,
That's very powerful, and that is speaks very much to the transformative power of dreams because when you start to be able to get that state of lucidity and be able to manipulate what's happening and control the outcome of things, it can be so empowering versus being like the victim of a situation
right,
in a dream where you wake up feeling powerless. It can be very empowering if you're able to attain that state of lucidity, which can be spontaneous or it can be learned.
right. And I was just curious if that was just like if you've heard that or it being, in your profession of that. Because I know I've actually even taken it one step further and have stopped people in my dream and probed questions. And
Yes.
it's kind of like, wow, I'm at a whole new level of dreaming where I'm not just the observer anymore. I'm feel like I'm more proactive to a point where I'm like, hey, I don't recognize where I am. Can you tell me where I am? I mean, it's like, wow, I kind of shocked
Yes.
when I wake up myself. So,
Yes. Very powerful.
yeah,
Yes.
and
I've
I'll
had,
like try to Google like wherever because sometimes I will actually get information that does not exist. So I don't know if I'm like
yeah,
astro traveling
I
in
was
some
going to say that.
other
Yeah.
dimension because I'd be like,
Yeah.
there is no such place, but I can describe that area, look at the street signs and and then try to Google it, and I'm like, it's not here. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely could be astral travel. And I get all kinds of information too. I get people's names a lot where I'm kind of like, okay, who is this person? What am I supposed to do with this
yeah.
name? And I get that a lot. So
Well, let's talk. I mean, we talked a little bit, we touched upon the synchronicities, but so what is your take? Are they signs from the universe? Are they in this quantum? I think we started to dive into the quantified film, the quantified entanglement. So, what do you think might be going on, and what are your experiences when you're writing your books?
yeah, I think for sure that the universe speaks to us through synchronicities and signs. And the more we start to notice them, the more it gives us. So whether that if that's through numbers, like you just happen to look at the clock and it's, 111, 222, 555, or you start to see things, a lot of thematic things as you're going out throughout your day, you're starting to see a lot of feathers, you're starting to see a lot of owls, you're starting to hear a song that is telling you a message. All of those things are messengers of the clair senses, essentially, the senses beyond our physical senses, where we start to receive information in ways that aren't through the five main senses, but we still can understand them. We can understand that they're leading us. And deja vu can even be one of those experiences, but throughout writing this book, I've had just ridiculous, I can't make them up synchronicities. And each time it was like, wow, okay, thank you, is what I say every time. It's like, I'm on the right track. Thank you. I get it. Okay, I'm there. And one of the crazy things that happened midway through, so I published all three within 365 days. And I was in the middle of writing the second book, The Dream Mirrors. And there was a planetary alignment. All of the planets were lined up over my house. And as I was waking up, I had this vision of this shaman with this big headdress. And he was like, "You have made a great sacrifice." And I was like, okay. And then I wake up and it was before dawn. I see the planets. I take a picture of the planets. Well, in book two, I'm writing. There's, as I'm writing it, there's two pivotal scenes. One, there is a fire, and the other is that there is a supernatural attack at Sky Manor, which causes all of the mirrors in the hallway to shatter. Well, on that morning, in the middle of January, I was working as I'm working on the book. So Mars, Venus, and Saturn are all aligned over the house. And within a few hours of waking up, a portable battery exploded in my bathroom. And it lit on fire so intensely that it shattered the mirrors.
Wow.
And it was only through my husband's quick thinking and, of course, the protection of my spirit guides and the synchronistic alignment of the planets that he grabbed a fire extinguisher, put it out. I mean, of course, our bathroom was total. We had to have it remodeled, but, saved our house, saved my computer, saved our cats, everything. And so that was like an amazing spiritual experience for me. I mean, it was traumatic, but it was also like, whoa, okay, initiation by fire for sure. And also just mimicking what's happening in the book.
Yeah, and I haven't really talked about it in my books, but there's a whole lot of weird stuff when you start writing. Kind of makes you wonder if, something's trying to stop you. I don't
Mm.
know. Or there's like these ripples of obstacles that decide. I mean, when I was writing my books, it was always computer issues. Like even if it
Mm,
was a new computer, um,
mm.
and like you said, stuff falling off the wall, you're like in your zone. Because when you get to that zone where you're just writing and it's all flowing naturally, all of a sudden something falls off the wall and disrupts it.
Yeah.
Disruptor energy.
Yeah.
So
So there were so many things like that. Just went on and on. And then I was doing my metaphysical studies, and so I'm bringing all of this into the books, and decided to really make book three a riddle experience. So there's 7 riddles that she must decipher again before Halloween, but now she's the one that is in danger. And the riddles really correspond with the chakras and the levels of healing that one has to go through when they are like ascending, when they're shedding their ego, when they're recognizing their universal self and they're beginning to step into their power and follow their path. And so um, it involves a lot of other aspects like that, but her clairsenses are gaining, but yet she's starting to get ill and she doesn't know why. And that's also a mirror of my life and my experience with chronic illness. And so she has to discover how to heal her dis-ease and what the root of that dis-ease is. And it's really the grief over the loss of her parents. And she has to find a way to overcome that and heal herself.
that is awesome. Makes me want to just jump into and start reading.
Leap into
Want
yes,
to find out what these riddles are.
leap into the
So
story.
let's just for our readers' sake, what tropes and genre does the trilogy fall under?
Yeah, so we touched on it a little bit, but and each one is a little bit different. But in general, the genres, I call it a mysticy. It's a mixture of mystery and fantasy. But the fantasy isn't high fantasy. It's not Lord of the Rings, like complicated with long people's names and all this kind of stuff, because it's more magical realism because it's set in reality. So I think about it as the Celestine prophecy meets Charmed, the TV show, meets Harry Potter, because it's a mixture of all of those things. It's the good versus evil, but also following the path of discovery, which is the path of self-discovery. So there is found family and discovered power secret societies, and it's also very much a women's journey. So that's why it's a little bit women's fiction too, as much as it is also supernatural and speculative and paranormal. But it's cozy. So there's no swearing, there's no really overt violence, there's no romance. So it really can be read by a younger audience, which is why it's both young adult and adult, because it can be read by a younger audience and they'll appreciate certain parts of it. And then the older crowd will also appreciate the layers, because I have free discussion guides on my website for organizations, educators, and book clubs to dive into all the different Easter eggs that I've buried in there, all of the things that you can go further on, whether it's sound healing and frequencies or numerology, or if you want to delve further in, there's a lot of layers. So you can read it multiple times and you'll discover something different each time.
That's awesome. So it covers a lot of ground, and there's um, a nice range that it can appeal to. So I
Yeah.
do have one last question for you. Where can we find more about you, and how do our listeners purchase your books?
Yes. So I'm just going to show my third book here. This is The Dream Dimensions. This just came out October 3rd. So this is the final installation in the trilogy. All three books are also on audiobook, narrated by Pearl Hewitt, who was amazing British narrator. And that was like one of my favorite parts of this process because they came out so good. It really just bring it all to life. So meganmary.com is where you can buy my books. I also sell themed merchandise on there. So I sell candles, blankets, and pillows, and themed dream journals that you can buy and keep track of your dreams as Hannah is as you're reading the trilogy. So those are on there. You can also get them everywhere that books are sold. So Amazon, Kobo, Google, Apple, all those places too. Libraries and independent bookstores because I'm distributing wide. So you can even request it at your library. And on my website, you'll also find my podcast. And I also have self-paced dream courses on there. And I also do one-to-one sessions with women doing dream work and guiding them on their spiritual path.
Definitely. Thank you for sharing these great insights, great information, great resources. And I want to thank our listeners for tuning into the Leap Into Your Story podcast, where you discover your inner story, work through the process, and meet others who've done it so you can be guided to your journey to writing your story. Remember to visit our website at leapintoyourstory.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We are looking forward to seeing you next time here on the Leap Into Your Story podcast.
Thank you for tuning into the Leap Into Your Story podcast, where you discover your inner story, break down the process, and meet others who've done it so you can leap into your own story. Remember to visit our website at leapintoyourstory.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're there, subscribe and like to us via your favorite social media network. We're looking forward to seeing you next time on the Leap Into Your Story podcast.